Welcome to Northwest Profiles, a look at people, places, and events of interest in the inland Northwest.
Aboard!
It looks real, it sounds real, and up close it even feels like a real train. But take a step back and you realize this train is a scaled-down version of the real-life Napa Valley wine train that runs daily through California's wine country. It's just one of the many trains that run regularly on the Grand Garden Railway of train enthusiast Steve Hughes.
Well, I got into it as a young boy because I grew up during the last days of steam down in California, on the Southern Pacific Railroad, and I loved seeing these big black behemoths roaring by, steaming, smoke flying, the whistling, and I was drawn to this power, the sounds, the smells, the whole thing. And so I've always been an absolute train nut. I've been in other hobbies, but I've always come back to the trains. There's something about them, it's very difficult to explain. I just like it, and I always have.
While Steve has enjoyed model trains in one form or another for over 50 years, it wasn't until he decided to move here to the inland Northwest and his home in Otis Orchards that his passion for outdoor railroading blossomed.
For many years, I was into HO gauge trains as I grew up. Then I got in about 20 years ago into collecting pre-war Lionel trains. Well, as it turns out, most of my family's up here. We came up and visited in 1989, and I knew then we would move up here once I retired from the police department down in California. And knowing that, I decided I wanted to go into outdoor model railroading because it was kind of like the coming thing. And we would have the property. We planned to have the property because down in California we had a postage stamp backed lot. And I experimented outdoor trains, but it was so small I couldn't really do much. So that's how I got into the outdoor model trains as you see them today, which are known generally as G scale, which means G for garden.
Presently, Steve is an active member of the Inland Northwest Garden Railroad Society, a group dedicated to the promotion and advancement of a growing hobby.
Garden railroading started in England and Germany before World War II, and only became popular here about 30 years ago when a company called LGB built commercially made outdoor trains which could be mass-produced at a reasonable cost, and they started importing them, and then from there the interest grew. They were initially European, but they started making American types. And so it spread. It's become a very rapidly growing hobby.
As the popularity of garden railroading has expanded through the years, so too has the number of people involved. Today, there are thousands just like Steve who belong to one of the over 100 independent garden railroad societies currently active in North America. Here in Spokane, the Inland Northwest chapter meets once a month.
General purpose is friendship, to get a commonality of model railroading, and also to promote education and the background of model railroading. We learn from each other. It was members of society who helped me build this train. I could not have done it by myself. I am an electronic moron. So society members definitely are a big help, and they give you pointers about how to, the ballasting and how to just build the track work, which I did.
Indeed he has. Over the past decade, Steve has laid well over 400 feet of track to create not only one of the largest layouts in the area, but also a delightfully engaging example of what garden railroading is all about, the melding of two distinct hobbies.
I put the first circle of track through the bushes and the trees, and that was the inner loop, and then the following year I put the outer loop as you see the wine train running on today. When I built that, I built like a real railroad. I went with the lay of the land. I didn't deliberately dig out or blast out things. I kind of went with it so you have a little grade. And from there it was developing. My wife was very much into putting the plants in. If I did it, it would have been a disaster. But we wanted to add some more, perennial flowers and plants to go with it, try to blend it in, if we could make it aesthetically pleasing as well.
And that is exactly what Steve Hughes, together with his wife Liz, have accomplished. It seems as though every aspect of this garden railroad, right down to its specific name, have all been carefully considered.
The inspiration is a combination, first of all, the Napa Valley Railroad and Wine Dinner Train, which we have ridden on. I really fell in love with that. And when I saw the train available for the first time just before I moved up here, I said I had to have that. But also on top of that, knowing I would be up here in the Pacific Northwest, I certainly wanted to model the most common, the most well-known railroad up here, the Burlington Northern. So I named it, therefore, the Burlington Northern and Napa Valley Railroad.
One of the more charming elements of this outdoor railroad is the attention paid to detail without going overboard. By just adding the basic detail of sound, Steve's model trains, including the Napa Valley wine train, virtually come to life.
The sound system on that particular engine is the actual recordings of that type of locomotive called the Alco, which is has a 251 block engines. The actual sounds you'll hear on the dinner train itself when it's running. I am not what is called a rivet counter. I don't go down to the umpteenth degree like some modelers. This is a general. We have the rule of 10. If it looks good at 10 feet, we run the trains.
As you watch Steve at the controls, it's clear that at least for this admitted train junkie, garden railroading is the perfect fix. However, Steve is quick to point out that operating an outdoor railroad is not without its challenges.
We have 4 acres out here. I have problems. Well, first of all, the biggest one is my horses have gotten loose a couple times. I've ran literally on the track and really stomped on the track. Fortunately, there's only 1 foot section. I have plenty of track to replace them. Another thing are I have a 7-foot long tunnel. I have squirrels and rabbits. If I don't keep that tunnel closed up when I'm not operating, they'll nest in it.
Besides the occasional problems associated with being outdoors, garden railroading can also present some financial challenges as well.
To get started, you're going to look to be in all realism between $500 to $1,000 to get you started if you're going to do an outdoor layout, because the track itself will run approximately $3 to $4 a foot. It ain't cheap, folks, but if you really want to, then you'll find the way of getting into it. You don't have to do it overnight. It's taken me 10 years to get the railroad where it is today. I did not do it overnight, so don't try to squeeze yourself financially. It isn't worth it. Just do it as you can afford it.
It's all great advice from someone who already knows and enjoys what the hobby of garden railroading has to offer.
Well, for me, I guess it's the feeling of I'm creating something here when I build it, and then it's a very relaxing hobby. Once I'm running the trains, it's very therapeutic. And in fact, I've talked to psychologists and I've read articles that also said that model railroading is a very therapeutic hobby. It's a very relaxing hobby. But again, for me, it's the creation of it.
If you have a story idea for Northwest Profiles, send it to KSPS TV, 3911 South Regal, Spokane, Washington, 99223. Northwest Profiles is a presentation of KSPS Public Television.